Okay, in part A, I was talking about the argument against the existence of God as an omniscient being. And there's different arguments I was giving. I was in the middle of the third argument, and in my response, I was saying I don't think this is a valid argument, and I was explaining that it commits a modal fallacy, or it commits a fallacy when we look at it through the lens of possible world semantics. There's many different logically possible worlds, and a free choice is by definition one that I could have made differently than I will in fact make in another world. Alright, so picking up from there, whatever, and we're almost done with omniscience, whatever I freely choose to do in the actual world, I freely choose to refrain from doing in another possible world. This is another way of saying that in the actual world I could have chosen differently. And if I could have chosen differently, then libertarian free will is retained, contrary to what argument C, the third argument, says. Let's look at the conclusion of the atheistic argument more particularly. If I simply must do a thing, then I cannot choose to do otherwise. That's the conclusion. If I really am going to do something, if I will do X is a fact, quote, I will do X, unquote, if that's a true proposition, a fact, then trivially I must do it, of course. This is just our old friend, the law of identity. A is A. But that does not mean that I cannot choose to do otherwise if it is my choice itself which has locked in the truth value of the fact, quote, I'll do X, unquote. In this way, we see that premises 1 and 2 of the argument can both be true without the conclusion following validly. So my third argument against God as an existing being who is omniscient is invalid. So let's go back to argument C and just restate it in case we've forgotten it. Premise 1, since God is omniscient, He knows what I shall freely choose to do in the future. That's true. Premise 2, if God knows what I definitely will do, then I simply must do it. That's true. But the conclusion does not follow validly from the premises. The conclusion, if I simply must do a thing, then I cannot choose to do otherwise. In other words, my free choice is not free, and this is contradictory. Now the reason, again, why that doesn't follow is because I must do a thing because I have chosen, I myself have freely chosen to do it. That locks it in that I must do it. But if it's my free choice, I could choose to do otherwise. So the consequent of the if-then statement, if I simply must do a thing, then I cannot choose to do otherwise, is false. I could choose to do otherwise in another logically possible world. Or I could have chosen to have done otherwise when I was locking in I will do X. I could have locked in I will do not X instead, because it's a free choice by definition. So the conclusion does not follow. The argument is formally invalid. Therefore, argument C is unsound. It's invalid. And of course, it can be invalid and unsound, or one or the other, I suppose, but this argument is at the very least an invalid argument. And let's see, I guess I've got enough time to do omnipotence, but I will save that just for the sake of clarity for another video. And then we'll look at the attributes together in pairs. And that will conclude the cumulative case for atheism, which I think is, in the end, uncompelling. So that's why I remain a theist, a believer in God. I thank you for watching. Thanks. I'm up to over 50 subscribers now. I'm really excited about that. Thanks for subscribing. Tell all your friends. Hope I didn't put you to sleep going through all this boring logic chopping. And shalom out.